हर बार हम लोग हफ्ते की शुरुआत जब करते हैं तो पहली चीज मैं ये बोलता हूं कि आरसीबी ने फिर से अपने सारे मैच हार दिए, लेकिन इस बार थोड़ा सा प्लान में चेंज है। आरसीबी ने दोनों मैच अपने बैक टू बैक पिछले जीत लिए हैं और बड़ी स्टाइल में जीते हैं, और साथ ही साथ उनके दिल्ली कैपिटल्स ने भी और राजस्थान रॉयल्स ने भी अपने बैक टू बैक मैचेस जीत लिए हैं। तो इस जो रेस में हम तब से देख रहे हैं कि कौन आगे होगा कौन पीछे होगा। टॉप पर तो राजस्थान स्टेबल है, लेकिन नीचे थोड़ा अभी चेंज हो रहा है, और उसी चेंज को डिस्कस करने के लिए और एक दो और नए इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक्स इंक्लूडिंग द वर्ल्ड कप स्क्वाड्स मैं बुलाना चाहता हूं अपने साथ नीरव को, और नीरव के साथ साथ नीरव के अनुभव के साथ साथ अनुभव को भी मैं बुलाना चाहता हूं।
नमस्कार नमस्कार नमस्कार
नमस्कार नमस्कार। कैसे हैं?
थैंक यू हैविंग अस।
चल रहा है यार, सेम ओल्ड। इस बार 4 मैच थे वीकेंड पे, तो
हाँ, आई थिंक दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम जब 4 मैच हुए वीकेंड पे, बिकॉज़ अभी तक नहीं हो रहा था ये। ओके, मैं आपसे आगे बात करूं। मोर रन्स। संतोष कह रहे हैं कि यूजुअली वो लेट होते हैं। संतोष, हमने आज सोचा थोड़ा इनिंग्स जब खत्म हो रही है तब स्टार्ट करते हैं, तो फिर क्या है लोग और इकट्ठे हो जाएंगे। और सुलेमान है, धीरज है, और भी लोग जुड़ रहे हैं हमारे साथ। क्या लग रहा है गाइस? डीसी ने 149 for 9 बना दिए, 2 बॉलें बची हैं आफ्टर द वॉबली स्टार्ट इन द 150 हो गया, करेक्ट। सो आफ्टर द वॉबली मिड segment of the innings, is this a good recovery by DC, and like will KKR be now looking at it as a tricky chase? अनुभव से स्टार्ट करते हैं, KKR होम बॉय।
तो देखो, मैं एज अ KKR फैन मेरा तो आंसर थोड़ा बायस्ड होने वाला है, लेकिन अगर मैं दिमाग से भी आपको अगर आंसर दूं तो आई विल हैव टू से कि रिकवरी अच्छी रही है दिल्ली की, जैसे आपने कहा, लेकिन आई स्टिल थिंक इट्स नॉट गुड इनफ, एंड आई ऑनेस्टली आई थिंक कि KKR विल जस्ट वॉक अवे विद दिस गेम विनिंग एट अ कैंटा। मेरा प्रेडिक्शन।
ओके, वाओ, अमेजिंग यार। इस पैनल में आप ही अकेले KKR फैन नहीं हो, मैं भी KKR फैन हूं। वी हैव डिस्कस्ड दिस। नीरव, आप किसके फैन हैं? आज ऑफिशियली आपसे पूछा जा रहा है।
मैं इंडियन क्रिकेट का फैन हूं यार, आईपीएल में रोज इंडिया
फैन ऑफ क्रिकेट,
रोज एवरी डेज पार्टी।
चलो बढ़िया है, बट पार्टी अभी तो बैटर्स की हो रही है।
You know what that reminds me of? काफी बार जब FIFA वर्ल्ड कप चल रहा होता है, तो you ask someone किसको सपोर्ट कर रहे हो, some people say I'm supporting England and Germany and France and Italy, and then they say, you know what, I'm a fan of football, I'm a fan of good football.
Yeah, so it's a good news if you're an Indian fan, because orange cap भी इंडियन के पास है, विराट कोहली, और पर्पल कैप भी अभी तक last when I checked was with an Indian. तो अभी
दूसरे नंबर पे भी इंडियंस ही है मेरे ख्याल से।
पहले 5 बैटर्स तो इंडियन ही है। ऋतुराज गायकवाड़, साई सुदर्शन,
ट्रेविस हेड है ना बीच में।
नहीं, संजू सैमसन, केएल राहुल, ये टॉप 5 है अभी। सो इट्स गोइंग टू बी अ लॉट ऑफ हेडेक फॉर द
बॉलर्स में भी 3 इंडियंस ही है, आई थिंक।
बॉलर्स में टॉप 5 में 3 इंडियंस है, यू आर राइट। नटराजन, हर्षल एंड बुमराह, yeah.
Chahal went wicketless last game.
Yeah, very rare to see Chahal go wicketless, but very rare to see Rajasthan dominate with this consistency since 2009, I must add, because 2008 में they were the table toppers. एक बार IPL table देख लेते हैं कि क्या अभी स्थिति चल रही है।
Weren't they table toppers 2 years ago when they reached the final? No, GT was that year also. GT was table topper. Sorry.
But they finished क्या? Rajasthan finished second, I think, ना उस season.
Yeah, I think so. They finished second on the table and second in the finals.
Yeah. So right now, और राजस्थान ने जो एक मैच हारा है वो भी लास्ट बॉल पे राशिद खान ने कट किया। So commendable the way they are going. Is it, and before हम टेबल पे देख रहे हैं, सबसे नीचे जो एक नाम है, अभी भी एक कुदरत का निजाम, जैसे कुदरत का निजाम रखा गया था, नीरव आपको याद हो वर्ल्ड कप के टाइम पे, जो पाकिस्तान फैंस का, वैसा ऐसा मैंने अभी सोशल मीडिया पे ऑफ लेट बहुत देखा है कि बैंगलोर फैंस का चल रहा है कि हिम्मत रखें, 14 पॉइंट्स बस कैसे भी कर लें, और फिर उसके बाद उम्मीद करें कि राजस्थान, कोलकाता और चेन्नई और हैदराबाद, whoever is there, they just run away with it. Is it still mathematically possible? Because they don't have an E right now in front of their name.
Yeah, at 14 people have qualified in previous times.
Yeah.
It boils down to यार top 2-3 teams कितने आगे निकलते हैं.
हाँ.
Rudra is coming up in different names on our comments.
या ये रुद्र ने अपने दोस्तों को बुला लिया शायद ये ईशान और हार्दिक. हाय, we might soon meet at a party. But
to answer Suleiman's question, अजिंक्य भाई genuinely पार्टी कर रहे हैं. Genuinely. इस
अजिंक्य
वक्त
भाई,
वो
ओके.
थोड़े
तो संतोष ने कहा
अपनी
है कि
दुनिया में है.
संतोष ने कहा प्लीज हाईलाइट ईशान्स कमेंट, और वो ईशान का कमेंट है कि ब्रिंग रुद्र. वाओ,
अच्छा.
क्या बात है यार. मेरे लिए कोई नहीं लिखता कभी यार. ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं.
but देखो अजिंक्य नहीं है. If Rudra is to come, then he'll have massive shoes to fill.
हाँ, that's true.
है ना?
That's true.
नहीं उसका
हाँ.
जूते का साइज 8 नंबर है. I just bought him a pair of shoes actually. He's a 43.
अच्छा, he's a 43.
Metaphorical shoes.
Metaphoric shoes.
तो अब एक एक करके मैच की बात कर लें. जो पिछले 3 मैचेस, एटलीस्ट जो कल के 2 मैचेस हुए थे.
4 मैच हुए ना वीकेंड पे.
हाँ, वीकेंड पे 4 हुए. तो सबसे पहले
उनमें से
पीछे से
2 नॉन मैचेस थे.
जो कल का लास्ट मैच हुआ था.
दोनों कल के दोनों मैच I think were quite one-sided.
यार
When a team
200
wins by 25%, like
हाँ,
Bangalore chased it. Okay, let's go one by one.
16
पहले बताते हैं क्या हुआ था मैच
16
में.
ओवर्स में आया. तो पहले पीछे से
Let's go
चलते हैं. पहले
backwards.
चेन्नई.
हाँ, पीछे से
या
चल. Done.
तो चेन्नई वर्सेस हैदराबाद, जो चेन्नई में हुआ था. मैच इतना वन साइडेड था कि एक वक्त पे साक्षी सिंह धोनी ने एक स्टोरी भी डाल दी कि जल्दी खत्म करो, आई हैव टू गो एंड अटेंड द बर्थ ऑफ माय अप, लाइक जो भी उनके नेफ्यू एंड नीस हो रहे हैं, शी इज बिकमिंग अ बुआ, सो कांग्रेचुलेशंस टू साक्षी. तो इतना वन साइडेड था कि मतलब इट वाज सो ऑब्वियस दैट चेन्नई इज विनिंग दिस. व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम विद हैदराबाद चेजिंग गाइस? क्या हो रहा है? हैदराबाद चेज क्यों नहीं कर पा रही?
I don't think chase नहीं कर पा रही है is the such an issue. It's basically Travis Head and Abhishek if they don't give a fiery start. मतलब पहला या दूसरा बॉल चौका या छक्का नहीं पड़ा तो प्रॉब्लम आनी शुरू हो जाती है उनकी. I think that's maybe they yesterday they were 3 down very soon. तो वो top 3 जब निकल जाता है and यार honestly Chennai bowled outstandingly well even in the middle overs. मतलब Klassen didn't get away. Like this is a shocker, right? Ki Klassen beast of 21 it was pure and it was all the fast bowlers bowling to him. And they bowled a very, matlab Shardul also, they bowled it outside the arc, wide outside off stump, full short, back of length, सब off stump के बाहर था कि अगर मारना है तो घुमा के लेग स्टंप पे मारो, देखते हैं. तो I don't think manage कर पाए. So I think it was just very very disciplined bowling to a plan. There was a plan, single plan, and everybody executed it. And a couple of them, I mean, which डैरल मिचेल को 5 कैच मिले, उसमें से 2-3 तो मतलब ऐसे शॉट्स थे जो छक्के के लिए जा सकते थे और नहीं गए. One of those things, right? Slightly, 5% mistimed या जो भी, including the first one. So I think that those are the issues which were happened yesterday. I don't think, Simon Dool made a great point that everybody bowled with cross seam. So, and the pace variations were very good, I thought. Yeah, I was quite impressed yesterday for once with Shardul Thakur because I think he is the guy who in that Chennai lineup actually doesn't have discipline in his bowling. कि वो एक plan को follow नहीं करता. He sprays it a bit, like off के बाहर, like पे full toss, मतलब so, and he doesn't have a yorker. So I think generally speaking, he's a bit all over the shop in the middle overs. But I think yesterday he was outstanding. Yeah. So you have to call good day, good bowling performance. जो कहते हैं ना कि वो बड़े बार हम पोस्ट मैच में उनको सुनते हैं बोलते हुए कि I just followed the plan and bowled in the good areas. And these are not खाली words. मतलब ये actually is something. It is a concept. You have a plan and there are good areas. Like they practice to bowl मतलब मार्कर लगा के लोग कोचेस बॉलिंग करवाते हैं ना उनसे कि यहाँ पे करते रहो तुम. और on days when you get in that, even like batsmen have zones, get into the zone कहते हैं. Bowlers also get into the zone where you follow the plan and you can do it in, wicket, ball after ball after ball after ball. So it's not. And Pathiran, obviously, they got that one great Yorker, but he always kept bowling it back of length just outside the off stump. So I think that was the thing. That was the length they got perfect, and line was perfect. So I mean, generally speaking, so एक आध ball चलो इधर उधर.
Yeah, but इतनी अच्छी bowling करने के बाद भी, sorry, you're saying.
No, go on.
No, I was saying even though he bowled so well, he doesn't have a mention there, which tells कि बाकी bowlers also like got their plans right. And तुषार देशपांडे ने तो पहले 3 विकेट ही ले लिए थे पावर प्ले में, तो मैच काइंड ऑफ वहीं खत्म कर दिया था when you're chasing 230.
Exactly. And speaking of plans, Neerav, आपने बहुत interesting बात कही. So I still remember when I was working for CSK 2 साल पहले, मैं Eric Simon जो उनका bowling coach है उनसे बात कर रहा था. And Eric Simon had mentioned that if we come up with a plan and the bowlers are actually bowling according to that plan, and despite bowling according to that plan, in the event that they get whacked for a 4 or a 6, we don't have any problem whatsoever. So execution, as long as the execution is fine, even if the result is not desirable, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think most bowling coaches have that thing. That there is a plan, follow it, and sometimes execution goes 19-20. Magar if you are told to bowl Yorkers out on 7th 8th stump, right? And उसमें एक bottom edge लग गया या एक जो भी third man fine leg पे पहुंच गया हो या फिर एक 6 inch extra पड़ गया और वो cover के ऊपर छक्का पड़ गया. Those are things which happen as part and parcel, right? और या फिर wide पड़ गया. So if you're aiming for that blue line, then sometimes it will be a wide, no? So you're better off bowling that wide and trying it again than not bowling it and giving it on length in the arc.
Exactly.
अब तो सब जा रहा है, मतलब मजाक बन गया ना अब तो. It's not even fun anymore watching bowlers get smashed.
So I want to talk about that थोड़ा सा आगे in the show. But मेरे को एक ये चीज जाननी है, how rare is it that home ground पे home team का captain misses 100, but the crowd is happy. क्योंकि कल मैं मैच देख रहा था and I was मतलब थोड़ा सरप्राइज था, despite we देखते आ रहे हैं हम लोग.
They tend to cheer for guys above number 8 in the batting order getting out. मतलब अच्छा आउट होते जाओ, आउट हो जाओ, रन बना दिया, हो गया, चलो काम तुम्हारा, चलो जाओ.
इनफैक्ट मैं तो ये कहूंगा, अगर ऋतुराज 99 पे भी आउट होता ना, I think we would have heard the same loud cheers.
Yeah, it's crazy. थोड़ा बुरा लगता है, दिल से बुरा लगा मुझे एक्चुअली उसके लिए. It would have been a successive.
No, I think he attempted to get out. I think he knew कि सिर्फ 4 बॉल बचे हैं, अगर मैंने 2 बॉल खा लिया तो पब्लिक जूते मारेगी या बूइंग करेगी.
प्लस उसके लास्ट 5-7 बॉल में, लास्ट 5-7 बॉल that he faced, I think from like ball 45 से लेकर 50 to 53 तक, he was struggling a bit. Yeah, okay. But Shishir, going back to the original question about Hyderabad.
I think we'll discuss the World Cup selections. तो अभी थोड़ा don't get ahead of us. I think एक तो sadly BCCI decided कि they will not wait for Sunday to do the selection. They said they'll do it on the first. तो normally हमसे पूछ के वो Sunday को ही करते हैं ताकि Monday को हम discuss कर सकें. But कुछ गड़बड़ हुआ है. हाँ, कंफ्यूज हो गए वो थोड़े कि वीकेंड
बैक टू बैक परफॉर्मेंसेस आ रहे हैं ना, तो वो लोग सोच रहे हैं अभी थोड़ा और रुकते हैं, फिर डिसाइड करते हैं. बट फर्स्ट में आई थिंक इज द डेडलाइन फॉर द इनिशियल सबमिशन ऑफ स्क्वाड्स फॉर ऑल द टीम्स, व्हिच वी विल गेट इनटू लेटर. बट अभी चलते हैं जो मॉकरी बना दी बैटिंग की, सारी जो हमने पढ़ी है चीजें कि 150 जब हुए आपके, उसके अगले 6 मिनट में आपके 100 हुए. मतलब नीचे में भेल खाने उतरा, ऊपर आया और विल जैक्स की 100 हो गई. So what do you make of it? कहाँ पे like sometimes it's I feel it's sometimes futile to ask where did they go wrong, because when the opposition is in that mood, in the kind of mood, Will Jacks was I think 16 or 16 in the beginning, and he ended
17
up
or 17,
and he ended up with 100 of 41 balls. So how do you
No,
explain that?
he scored 60 odd in his last 8 balls, 9 balls, 10 balls, whatever. मतलब चौके छक्के ही पड़ रहे थे ना इनमें
Exactly. I think he scored 30.
These-
His first 50 runs came of 31 balls and then 100 of 41. So last 50 runs वो 10 ball में मारा है.
देखो
Incredible. So he
5 runs per
did
ball.
it last 50. Yeah, Anubhav is right. I did the math also. Last 50 जो हुई है उसकी 10 बॉलों में हुई है. But
दो लगातार ओवर में 30-30 मारे ना उसने.
So राशिद का जो लास्ट ओवर था, जो फाइनल मैच का जो फाइनल ओवर बना मैच का, उसमें also I think he scored some 466, 466. That was the 5 last balls that he faced of Rashid Khan, not any street bowler or anyone like unknown. So is it because of the wickets, Neerav? Is it because of the wickets or is it because of the like what is the reason? But because this season में कुछ ज्यादा ही हो रहा है. 250 is no
Are you
more.
asking yesterday or specifically or in general?
In general, because this season May 250 plus has become now the norm, in the sense that if 250 plus goes and even the teams chasing, they come with the belief कि कर सकते हैं. मतलब ऐसा out of reach नहीं है. Even RCB scored 262 while chasing 288 against Hyderabad. So what is it about
I
this
haven't
season?
noticed it too much before this season. Last year in the qualifier, was it a qualifier? It was basically the eliminator. क्या होता है? The second qualifier होता है ना? Which is the Friday before the Sunday, where the loser
finals
from the
final.
what's it called? Final से
Final
पहले वाला जो game
qualified
it was a
Eliminator होगा
qualifier 2.
qualified 2.
Eliminator is 3 versus 4. I think. हाँ. So this is not 3 versus 4.
right.
3 versus 4 में MI had beaten RCB. Then MI came to Ahmedabad to play
Gujarat, yeah.
GT. ठीक है ना? Gujarat were looking like a 200-ish total, and I think last 3-4 ओवर में 70-80 पड़ गए and it went to 230 या कुछ था, ऐसा स्कोर था,
Yeah.
which by last year's standard was a phenomenal amount. I can't remember exactly how much MI did, but there was a period they were looking, मतलब for 16-17 overs they were looking in, like they would do it. Surya, and so that was the only time I remember last season that a big total like 200 plus was generally 200 हो गया तो बस चलो घर
Match
चलते हैं.
mostly
In the
खत्म.
हाँ, मतलब except for like what happened in the final, for example, जब it was a 215 chase which became 150 or 160 whatever because of the rain delay. But apart from that, I don't remember too many times when fearlessly 200 was chased. There was obviously 2-3 years ago when a 220 was chased. So those were exceptional games. Like you remember those games. इस साल तो मतलब भूल गया हूं मैं कि 272 वाले गेम में किसने रन मारे. मतलब I'm assuming ट्रेविस हेड नहीं मारे होंगे या अभिषेक नहीं मारे होंगे. तो it's like that. It's become अरे यार अब तो मतलब डीसी ने सिर्फ 256 बनाए. It's like
और वो 10 रन से
they
ही
should
जीते
have
हैं, बस
got
ऐसा बड़ा मार्जिन से नहीं जीते हैं.
correct. They should have got that day. That DC looked like 300.
Yeah.
Like at one point in time. So many times, I think a couple of times, even SRH. I think the other game when they finished at 260 odd, that was a 300 वाला game. मतलब power play में 120 run is ridiculous ना. मतलब कि कुछ तो छोड़ दो. मतलब again 120 runs is like 30 boundaries, yeah, 25-30 boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Out of 36 balls, that's what third power तो अभी
Sulaiman का comment.
No, Santosh, I think what I was talking about, I think was Surya and Tilak last year. Surya got a 50 in some 15, 17 balls, then Tilak got a 50. Check, I can't remember now. Again, it's too far back. But I know that watching that match, I thought MI was in it for a long time. Then suddenly वही होता है ना कि 17-16 ओवर में 2-3 विकेट गिर जाएं, फिर गेम पलट जाता है. Then a new guy coming in, even if it's Tim David. This year, Tim David, you can expect 10 of 2 balls. Last year, you couldn't. His first 2 balls, you wouldn't expect it, right? That's what's happened. I think people are not getting their eye in. कि पहली बॉल से जाना है, which is what Phil Salt has done in the chase, right? कि जाना है, मतलब पहली बॉल को चौका ही, मतलब बाउंड्री के पार जाना ही है. अब if you can't get 6, we'll settle for 4. It's become that. So go for every ball. It's okay. And therein comes the impact player issue.
Yeah. So what are the? Do we discuss it now or do we discuss it थोड़ा later?
Yeah.
What is impact player rule doing to the game? Because एक तो T20 in general rule में अभी नहीं आया है ये. This is a very specific.
I'm hoping it stays that way.
Yeah, yeah. Can you give us a sense कि क्या फर्क पड़ जाता है इससे overall? And we have had comments from the former player like Ricky Ponting, legend रोहित शर्मा, सिराज ने भी अभी बोल दिया है. I think एक और कोई player bowler है, उन्होंने भी बोला कि it's not a fair this thing on the bowlers, but it's not just about the bowlers, right? Because Rohit said all-rounders का भी है, तो some light on that कि क्या actually असर कर रहा है ये.
Abhinav, go.
So I think impact of the impact player rule. Most people know exactly what the impact is of 2 seasons से आ रहा है, but I think from a player's perspective, I think psychologically तुमको इतना incentive नहीं मिलता है to hone both your skills as a batter as well as a bowler. If you're someone who does that, if you're someone who has both skills in his armory, so now that incentive is gone, which is why if someone like a Shivam Dube, हो सकता है domestic cricket में Mumbai के लिए he does bowling, he plays as an all-rounder, but now in the IPL he knows कि अच्छा, you know what, specialists are being rewarded, generalists or all-rounders की इतनी मतलब value नहीं है because of the impact player rule. So I think that's one of the ways in which it's become more of a curse than a boon. इसलिए रोहित शर्मा, फिर recently Ricky Ponting, इन्होंने भी कहा कि from a games perspective, for a coach, for a captain, it's a nightmare. एक तो वो confusion बहुत सारा create करता है. मतलब the thinking tank has to rack their brains.
Yeah.
बीच
5 substitute name करने होते
क्या करना है. 100%. So you have that tyranny of choice, another calculation that you have to make. You already have to make so many calculations throughout the match. वो है all-rounders को favor नहीं करता है, specialists. So as I said, वो incentivize नहीं करता है to hone both your skills. लेकिन हम लोग before the show हम लोग ये discuss कर रहे थे कि Ricky Ponting का एक contrarian view था, and he said कि देखो, from the thinking tank's perspective, the management's perspective, the coach and the captain's perspective, we don't like this rule whatsoever. लेकिन the crowd loves it because one of the impacts of the impact player rule is the fact that scores भी बहुत आ रहे हैं, right? And so from that perspective, from an entertainment value perspective, it's brilliant. And so he said, now you have to decide ki, acha, are we playing the game for the players, for the coaches, for the management, or are we playing the game for the crowd? So it's the fans' game. Exactly. And so if they like it, then maybe we should listen to them as opposed to trying to scrap the rule only because we might not like it.
Do let us know in the comments, guys. क्या आपको क्या लगता है इसके बारे में? क्योंकि एज अनुभव सेड कि जो रन्स बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ने लग गए हैं, which is one of the impacts of the impact player rule. And talking of that, we have the 262 run chase by Punjab. मैं थोड़ी सी ऑर्डर ब्रेक कर रहा हूँ क्योंकि हम LSG वाला गेम भी डिस्कस करने वाले थे, LSG RR का, बट अभी एक गेम जो आ गया है.
So I have one more point on the like to picking up from what he said about Dubey. So CSK as an 11, if they were only 11, right, they would have expected like Shivam to knock off 1 or 2 overs, Daryl Mitchell to knock off 1 or 2 overs. अब जरूरत नहीं पड़ रही है, right? So what I feel is actually according to me, they are the better 11, right? But at 12 they suffer in most games. And I'll give you a very concrete example. GT, when they won the tournament in 2022, had the impact player built in because at number 4 was a Hardik Pandya who was bowling 3 overs in the power play, right? So वो built in the 11 था. Other teams didn't have that, and therefore GT had the edge on 11 players. So it's simple as that, right? And Chennai for years, the reason they've been doing well, and MI for an extent, is because in all the MI great years, they had a 5, 6, 7, which was pretty much always like a Hardik, Krunal, and Kyron Pollard, right? Then came the bowlers. So they only played with, sometimes if need be, they only played with 3 specialist bowlers or 4, right? Because 5, 6, 7, 8 pe bhi agar ek semi all-rounder, like in years they had Nathan Coulter-Nile, who so their batting was quite deep, and they had the impact players already in there in the 11, right? And likewise with CSK, right? They had years in which they had Shardul, Deepak Chahar, David Bravo, Jadeja. Those were the years in which they did very well. Shane Watson, so who were batsmen who were giving them overs. So वो 11 में ही वो impact players factored in थे, and that's why they had the edge to other teams. I think the only good side I feel is that I think it's become a little more of a level playing field for all teams, in a sense, because these teams who have the built-in all-rounders don't have the advantage anymore. So that's the only, I think this year has been possibly the most even-looking. I know the points table doesn't reflect it, but it is a margin of 1 or 2 runs here and there in which RCB could have been not 10th and 5th at this point, right? If you put up the points table, there was a 2-run defeat and
1 run.
another close 1-run defeat and a very other marginal defeat in there. So if they had done that, they'd won those, then you would have seen them with like 8 or 10 points as well. So or in place of somebody else or whatever. So I think that is what it's done. And RCB actually is one of the people who have that built-in power. 11 Cameron Green and Glenn Maxwell allow them to have in their batting order 2 guys who can between them give 4 overs, right? I mean, and between Maxwell and Cameron Green, they are giving as many runs as their specialist bowlers are. So in an ideal scenario, they had a very good 11, but they don't have a good 12 because their impact substitute has done negligible, right? Whereas, like Santosh said, Shardul is coming in. He's an all-rounder in our World Cup 15, but he is now a specialist impact bowler, right? And I'm saying that's we're having guys like Travis Head being replaced, right? Uski fielding nahi chahiye hame. Batting khatam to baar बैठ जाए. So I'm saying that's what's happening, right? So it's actually allowing teams to have if they can crack a good 12, then they become a good team. So you don't have to necessarily have and I think if DC perhaps had an 11 only, they might have been higher as well because they haven't got been able to crack that impact player. Their impact player hasn't been so far very, whoever it's been, whether it's bowling first or batting first, hasn't been strong enough to make the 12 stronger. So I feel that and again, hats off to Rajasthan. They really don't need an impact player because they've got a sorted 11. But again, they have a team in which Rovman Powell is not bowling. He would normally bowl a couple of overs here and there, and maybe a Riyan Parag would bowl an over or 2. So अब वो bowling practice भी नहीं करते होंगे शायद कि नहीं चाहिए भाई छोड़ दो. So there are both sides of the story, and I think that अगर कर रहे हो तो फिर international cricket में होना चाहिए. Yeah, I mean, every league needs to improvise. BBL comes up with 3 random things every year which confuse the hell out of me. But so be it, na. I mean, it's okay.
You mentioned Rajasthan. Dhruv Jurel जो अब उनके consistent playing 11 बन गए हैं, वो last year super impact player बन के he made an impact, which led to his, I think, एक वो prominence आ गई और वो test debut भी किया और अब तो he's now part of the 11.
Test debut has come from domestic cricket. I mean, I don't think IPL had a. I mean,
he became a.
But that's how he burst onto the scene, है ना? I think that's what you're trying to say.
That's how he became a name to reckon with.
Yeah.
Same with Ayush Badoni also to some extent.
But this was his first 50, by the way. This was his first 50.
Jurel, na, this season.
Because last time he was coming in. Yeah.
Oh, अच्छा. पिछले सीजन कोई 50.
Because last season तो वो आता था 10-12 बॉलें खेलता था 28-30 रन बनाए and उसी में impact किया actual में जो उसका नाम है justify किया super impact को, but that was the case. But yeah, coming to Rajasthan and
Lucknow. बस हम लोग बस एक point भूल गए, which is the fact that it's also prolonged the careers of people like Amit Mishra. है ना? तो when you're sort of on your last legs in terms of your career, तो तुम आ सकते हो 4 ओवर के लिए या whatever 8 ओवर के लिए अपने 4 ओवर डाल सकते हो, then you can go off the field. So that's how it's helped some players.
I think even for Surya, he's being used as an impact sub right now because he's
partially injured, kind of.
Coming from an injury. So it has both good and bad sides. But Rajasthan does not seem to be having any bad or negative side to the game right now. Is Sanju Samson lock ho gaye kya in the Indian squad?
Do we want to go down that route?
I mean, everyone is talking about it now. I remember even Kevin Peterson tweeted or said something on air कि if he doesn't go to the World Cup and play at number 3, then it's kind of India is missing out on something.
So I made my 15 today.
Wow.
Do we want to go through that?
नीरव,
We want
आपका
to discuss our-
एक गलत निकला था वर्ल्ड कप 2023 में, अगर आपको याद हो।
क्या निकला
अपनी
था?
कॉन्वर्सेशन आपने मुझसे कहा था कि
हाँ?
अक्षर पटेल शायद आ जाएगा मोस्ट लाइकली एंड में,
हाँ,
और फिर
हाँ।
आपने कहा था कि शार्दुल ठाकुर शायद नहीं आएंगे,
उसकी
एंड इवेंचुअली
नहीं तो वो आया ना फाइनली, आई डोंट नो फॉर व्हाट रीजन, बट दे ब्रॉट इन प्रसिद्ध कृष्णा टू फॉर्म द बेंच.
नहीं, प्रसिद्ध कृष्णा केम इन फॉर हार्दिक पांड्या, शार्दुल ठाकुर ही आया।
I thought अक्षर आया था.
हाँ,
मतलब I will always pick an Akshar over Shardul. No, I mean,
स्पेशली इन इंडिया।
Akshar is very, especially in India, and I think even in a T20 setup, definitely more effective. He's been bowling really well. Yeah, but he goes unnoticed because the 1 for 20 goes unnoticed, or none for 25, right? But when you look at it, I don't know what the stats is, but except for that one odd game जहाँ पे सबको पड़ी है, but even in the सबको पड़ी है, सबको 12 रन पर ओवर गए पड़ी है, इसको 10 रन पड़ी. So I think
Right,
that's the in a typical 180 200 score, which is in the good old days that was a good score. I mean, for a batting team, he would do this 4 overs 1 for 17, 4 overs none for 25, which was under the radar, never again score sheet में आने वाली top 3 bowler में नहीं होगा शायद क्योंकि विकेट नहीं मिले, but effective to kind of bottle it up so that guys like Kuldeep and on the other side get wickets. So I'll always put him as my number one defensive bowler. And he's a good striker of a cricket ball, as we saw the other couple of nights.
Yeah. So हाँ, आप अपना 15 बताने वाले थे.
So there are 3-4 people who go in straight on class, right? In my playing 11 first. Let's do the 11. Those 3-4 are Rohit, Virat, Surya, Bumrah, and Kuldeep. Any questions there? Those pretty much make an 11, right? Fact. Okay?
Yeah.
Now comes, okay, so Rohit, Virat, Surya. At 4 and 5, you need at least one wicket keeper. And therein lies my problem factoring in Sanju Samson. Because at that slot, my best 4 and 5 would be Dubey and Pant. Personally, like based on recent form, based on track record, I think in America we're going to get slowish pitches. In West Indies we're going to get slowish pitches. These two guys, right? So the thing is, so Pant is not my best wicketkeeper batsman currently, but given that that's where we need to factor it in at a 4 and a 5. So Pant makes it and not Samson, right? So that's my 4 and 5. My 6 is Rinku Singh, even though he's not had a particularly good season right now, and largely because his top order in his team has been doing very well and he's not been getting, I don't know, I don't think he would कभी 10-15 बॉल से ज़्यादा खेला भी होगा किसी गेम में. But he is a all formats player. And he can play both games. Like he can actually, he's one of those guys who's tough to get out as well, right? So out करना मुश्किल होता है थोड़ा. Number 7, I would go with Jadeja, right? Now with 2 bowlers already in there, and therefore only 2 bowler slots left, we don't have an impact, right? So my 2 other best bowlers, according to me, are Arshdeep and Akshar. One, because he's a left arm and he can swing it, can bowl in the death. So I would play 2 fast bowlers only and 3 spinners, which is Jadeja, Akshar, and Kuldeep. Akshar can bowl in the power play. Actually, recently, so can Kuldeep. There's no reason they can't. So you'll have to. That's if I was the selector or captain or one of them. I'm not. And therefore, my 4 backups are typically one. So what we need to factor in the backup is an opener. The backup opener is a backup wicket-keeper batter, a backup spinner, and a backup fast bowler, right? So in those slots, my backup opener is Abhishek Sharma. Ahead of Shubman Gill or Yashasvi at this point. Because if you're switching it around, then you don't switch like for like, according to me. If for some reason you have a Virat getting injured or a Rohit getting injured, I wouldn't replace them with either Yashasvi or Shubman. I'd replace them with an Abhishek when you have the opportunity to go think out of the box. My backup wicketkeeper, I would go with KL Rahul because he can open, he can bat in the middle order, right? Yeah, Suleiman. I think no for me except for okay, his Jaiswal ki jagah Rinku Singh basically effectively. Baki pretty much the same. Yeah. And my backup fast bowler will be Avesh Khan, based on what I've seen in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
So again, a guy who can be brought into the first 11. So all these guys can be back, and my backup spinner is Yuzi Chahal. So that's my. So therefore lies my problem with Sanju Samson. Although I think Sanju Samson is one of those guys you should be playing, you know. But given that he can't bat at number 3, can he bat at number 3 and everybody slides down a bit? Like Surya goes to 4, Dubey goes to 5, Pant goes to 6. I would then say yes, Samson over Rinku Singh. So it's either Samson or Rinku Singh depending on the batting slots.
And no Hardik for you then, Nirav?
No Hardik for me. No. Based on what I've seen, no.
Mine is thoda sa similar.
I like him.
हाँ, mine is कि मेरा विराट ओपनर नहीं है. I'm sorry. मेरे को यशस्वी और रोहित से ही कॉम्बो लगता है, एंड मेरे को लगता है संजू शुड बी नंबर 3, स्काई एट 4, पंत, दुबे, फिर जड्डू. और मेरा फिर बॉलर्स में द 2 पेसर्स, but instead of Akshar, I'll keep Chahal and as the second spinner. So it's the problem with that is it's a long tail.
It's a long tail. But then again in T20 if so आप Virat को आप at an average of 70 and strike rate of 157 or something like that, you will not put him in your
yeah, it's a very tough call.
And his last T20 World Cup game, you know what happened, right? One of his last or second last was against Pakistan. So given that, I mean, if honestly for me, if it was Rohit not playing, then I say okay, Virat doesn't play. That's fair enough. Then you say okay, let's go back the youngsters only. But given that we are saying there are enough 30 plus people in this team, Virat and Jadeja isn't he older than Virat?
It's not about the age. It's about it's not
and
about
both you know we always say कि यार Virat long off से long off जाता है. अबे Jadeja भी long on से long on जाता है. Same दोनों उधर ही फील्ड करते हैं in the death overs, right? Yeah. So we always keep saying wow, Virat has gone from long off to long off. कल के मैच में देख रहा था लाइव, तो मैं देख रहा पब्लिक बड़ी खुश कि विराट इधर आया फिर उधर गया. साथ दूसरे इनिंग्स में मतलब दूसरे मैच में जडेजा ने भी वही किया. And it happens, and both of them when they do. But some of these comments are fair enough. I mean, the problem is of plenty, and Nishchay's comment is perfectly valid. Has he been formed in IPL or not? He's seeming to be bowling his 4 overs fine, which is his priority role. He is inarguably the best fielder in the team, and yeah, if it comes down to one, Akshar should be preferred. That's a personal choice. I agree. I mean, if it is down to one, but I would play both at this point, personally. So for me, the choice is Hardik and Jaddu. It's not Akshar and Jaddu.
Yeah, same.
Actually, I would put Akshar at number 7, number 8.
संतोष जडेजा अक्षर दोनों को 6 और 7 पे खिला रहे हैं. अच्छा सॉरी आपने.
Oh, he's playing Natarajan ahead of Arshdeep for me. I mean, compared to what I and pretty much same.
Yeah, KL.
For him, no Samson either for him either. Yeah.
Anubhav, what about you?
So Yashasvi is there in my 15, not in my starting 11. So Rohit and Kohli. Uske baad Sky. Then I have Dubey. I have Pant. I actually have Hardik in my starting 11. I know current form may probably, you might say just based upon form might not warrant a place. Like, I don't know. I just feel he still has that X factor in him. Experience hai. So I have Hardik. Uske baad Jaddu and Akshar ke beech mein, I've gone for Akshar. Fir Ashdeep, Kuldeep and Yuzi or Bumrah.
So what? 2 fast bowlers.
Two
fast bowlers, 3 spinners.
I think 2 followers सबके 2 fast bowlers हैं.
Exactly.
सुलेमान ने
I agree, man.
पैगाम भेजा.
Yeah. So I think that's I don't know what the wickets are like. So वही होता है ना कि we feel कि we need more fast bowlers. But again, if Hardik is in your 11, then that gives you the third fastish bowler, if not a fast bowler.
Yeah.
And he has, I mean, when he's the captain, he manages to take the new ball. I don't know whether Rohit will give him the new ball.
हाँ.
I don't know.
रोहित गार्डन में ना भेज दे. बट आई थिंक अभी अगले 2-3 दिनों में जब ये अनाउंस होगा तो बहुत कॉन्वर्सेशन होने वाला है बिकॉज़ एवरीवन हैज डिफरेंट व्यूज एंड
यार कम से कम 5 नाम तो ऐसे उछलेंगे, why not this one, why not that one, right? इन मतलब हमने आपस में जो हमने 3 ने डिस्कस किया, I think between us we had about 20 names, right?
हाँ.
I didn't have Hardik at all. I would like Samson. Those are 2 names which are already in nobody's, you know. Who else came up? Yashasvi came up, who was not in mine. So I'm saying between the 3 of us, there are already 20 players, right? तो 5 तो इनमें से निकलेंगे ना, है ना? तो मैं आपको भी बता दूं कि शुभमन गिल जा सकता है, क्यों नहीं जा सकता? मतलब there is enough, you know what I mean? Like guys like him could very well be the backup opener, right? Could be, you never know. It depends on how they think at.
ऑल्सो हाँ मतलब वो आ जाता है ना कि यार वर्ल्ड कप है, ग्लोबल स्टेज है, तो एक थोड़ा वैसा प्लेयर होना चाहिए जो संभाल सके एक एंड को. इस वजह से शायद शुभमन को नॉट मिल जाए एड ऑफ समवन लाइक अ बैशर से अभिषेक अगर उनके मिक्स में हो, उनके दिमाग में.
भाई संभालने के लिए रोहित है, विराट है, सूर्या है. These guys are capable of batting 50-60 balls यार on every game. सिर्फ 120 बॉलें होती हैं. That's my thinking. You have only 120 balls. Why are we worried about number 7 and number 8? If you are going to number 7, number 8, then you had already lost the match. Because you know, check any IPL game. The moment the 4th wicket is down, the score is sub 180. तो वैसे ही हो रहा है. तो आप छोड़ ही दो ना फिर. On the 1 out of 5 days, it's like what happened in the final of the World Cup.
हाँ, so संतोष का एक कमेंट है कि ऋतुराज गायकवाड़ का क्यों नहीं नाम लिया जाता even though he's second on the orange cap
I agree.
list.
I agree. Because
this will be one of those unlucky exclusions.
Again, I agree. वो उसका भी, he's one of those people who जिसका why not him. For me, he's more of the same. He kind of gives me what Virat already does. He has a solidity and a moderately good strike rate. Like he's not a 200 plus strike rate guy. He's a 150, 160 strike rate guy, which is what Virat is giving me most of the days.
Mainly it was a toss-up between Ruturaj and Yashasvi for the backup opener position, the third opener position. In fact, I think all 3 of us, हम तीनों के backup openers different है. Neera went for Abhishek Sharma, I went for Yashasvi. Shishir picked Yashasvi in his starting 11, but Virat is in the 15 outside the 11 as backup opener, है ना?
Yeah. And I've also have
backup
KL
opener 3, so
as one of the players in the 15 because I feel वो कहीं पे भी slot कर सकते हो आप जब भी जरूरत पड़े तो, and he can keep also, he can captain also. So for me he's a very versatile player in those, you know.
नहीं भाई, 5 कैप्टन है top 15 में.
हाँ, कैप्टन तो इतने सारे अभी
रोहित, पंत,
हार्दिक नहीं,
अगर नहीं भी आता तो
potentially.
सैमसन,
वाओ,
बहुत है, काफी है.
But मतलब
Bumrah has led India. Surya has led India. Virat has led India.
I'm really hoping कि चहल आ जाए इस बार eventually जो वो deserve करते थे, especially after giving the performance once again.
But सुलेमान भाई ने मैच दिखाया ना, why is it not possible?
फ्लोचार्ट बनता है ना जैसे this if this then that, ये वो है. If good IPL then no selection. बहुत खराब. But selection, just before we head to the end of the later part of the show, selection शशांक सिंह की भी बड़ी starting में contentious थी जब वो auction में select हुए थे. But how he has repaid that faith नहीं बोलूंगा मैं because you know why. But even the
whatever the right word is.
Even the record chase.
Faith, guesswork, blunder, whatever the right word is. Fill in that blank.
So what is it about him? क्योंकि वो पहले भी IPL में रहे हैं and somehow कभी notice में नहीं आया. डेल स्टेन ने mention किया तब जाके मुझे पता चला कि वो SRH पे भी थे पहले.
खेला था. In fact, he had one of these good innings, one of these Ashutosh Sharma kind of innings. like a
हाँ.
30 or 15 ball. Once I remember, it might have been 4-5 years back.
And I personally feel
लेकिन
कि
still उस season maybe apart from that one innings that Nirav is talking about, he had a horrendous season. In 10 innings, from what I remember, मैं एक article में पढ़ा था, he scored 68 runs in total from 10 innings for SRH that season. That's it.
So, like even if you watch that game, KKR versus Punjab game, yes, Johnny Bairstow hit an amazing century, 108 or 49, but जो like जिस scale का total था, it was Shashank's innings in the end, जो throttle कहते हैं ना, जो मिला 68 of 29. So, like, what is he doing differently? एक rare failure मुझे याद है उनका GT के against आया था अभी, जब पंजाब के against match था, but otherwise he's just been on a
So see, I think it was I mean, only 4 batters batted, right? So I think at least 3 of them did well enough to get them to the who else opened?
I think
Prabhsimran.
it was Prabhsimran and
Prabhsimran Bairstow, and then one drop पे कौन आया था?
and Riley Russo, I think number 3 पे.
Riley Russo. उसने भी मारे थे, 20-25 तो मारे थे मेरे से.
हाँ
So it
हाँ,
was
20 तो मारे.
you know, I think it was one of those. I mean, obviously they believed that Kolkata can get 260, so can we. So and you keep going here, and you know one of those flies off the top edge and straight to third man, you get out. So a lot of high risk, high reward game, right? And there are days when you only get rewarded, and there are days when you don't. I mean, DC tried to go big today. They were 72 in the power play, but they lost 3 wickets, and they finished with 140. So it's a high risk, high reward game. Same thing with SRH happens. No, the moment their top 3 go in the power play, then yesterday they ended up, they didn't even get to 140 yesterday, right? So I think you hope that you get 9 of those days and 5 bad days, but high risk cricket is high risk cricket.
लेकिन Nirav, speaking of SRH, I don't know if we want to discuss this right now. शुरू में I think discuss कर लिए थे, तो maybe we can save it for some other show. If it happens again, maybe, क्योंकि last 2 matches में हम देखे SRH की chases में that they've been falling like a pack of cards. और like काफी लोग कह रहे हैं कि देखो, they have a plan A, which is to go gung ho from ball 1, हर ball को मारो. When you pull it off, 277, 287, 266 तो मार रहे हो. But when it doesn't come off, then you can also fall for like a paltry 130, 140 or जो हम last 2 matches में देखे. But do you think कि at the end of the day, instead of simply following one template कि देखो यही हम लोग का game plan है, they should also come up with a plan B or a plan C कि suppose situation warrants कि we play more sensible cricket, third gear, fourth gear temporarily as opposed to only playing in fifth or sixth gear. That might be a better ploy. क्योंकि जैसे हम लोग baseball के साथ भी काफी बार कहते हैं, you know, there's like a fine line between bravery and foolishness. And sometimes you have to take into account what the situation is like और अपने ego को tame करना पड़ता है, and then maybe accelerate later as opposed to thinking कि तुम हर ball को out of the park मार दोगे.
So on this, my point of view is that it is that only which I said earlier. It's high risk, high reward, right? So SRH has, what's their status in the points table? 10 point है ना उनके? 9 game.
10 point है, they are on third right
9
now.
game है, ठीक है ना? So therefore 5 wins, 4 losses. So 5 wins, so 5 wins have come playing this way, right? So I mean, if it was 6 games, 6 wins had come this way, then you factor in 1 out of 2, you know, I think, because, and you also hope that a few games the bowlers will win you, ना? एक आध तो जिताएंगे कहीं ना कहीं. तो फिलहाल नहीं किया ना, क्योंकि every time they score 240, 250, then the other team is also. But yeah, I mean that's I think how they're going to go for it, right? There is no the plan B is we won't die wondering. So मारते रहो, उठाते रहो, out कभी ना कभी तो छक्का पड़ेगा. Top, yeah, also it's what's the boundaries in these 3-4 grounds are, you know, smaller, right? Delhi, Wankhede, Chennaswamy, Eden Gardens. So if the ground is like a 65-meter boundary, then, you know, in the power play at least your top edges are going for 6 for sure. You're swinging hard enough. Top edges, you know, mistimed shots, one hand off the bat, you know, hitting in the splice, sometimes going for 6. So a lot of that is happening. So then I don't know, why wouldn't you keep going for it, you know, in the hope that chances are, you know, there was a point in yesterday's game, GT versus RCB, where Virat hit a back of length ball with a with a teda bat above mid off, long off, right? The instant he hit it, he kind of started walking to the dugout. Ki nahi lagi, right? The fielder at long off, I think it was Shah Rukh Khan, thought he was in the catch, but it just went over him. One of those things, right? So I think even the batter doesn't know. It's one of those things. When you mara apne aap ko lag gaya yaar gaye. And he literally started walking, and then the next ball middled and hit for 6 again. So suddenly he's from being 40 pe out, he's now 50, 40 of 28 balls ki jagah he's become 52 of 30 balls. So that's how they are going. And yesterday, RCB chased again. They could have chased 250 yesterday, right? Based on how they were going.
Yeah.
Speaking of विराट, आप लोग ने उसके पोस्ट मैच प्रेजेंटेशन में जो उसके कमेंट्स थे वो सुने?
I think they were directed to a certain former opener, star opener.
हाँ, but जो भी basically he was referring to everyone in the commentary box, है ना?
Yeah.
तो उसने कहा कि ऊपर मतलब बॉक्स में बैठे बैठे बहुत आसान होता है कि मेरी स्ट्राइक रेट्स की आलोचना करना, ये बोलना कि मैं स्पिन के खिलाफ स्ट्रांग नहीं हूँ, लेकिन when you're out there in the middle, you understand it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah,
compared
I think
to
it
what
was
it's like from the
directed
box.
to. I don't know if I can name him, but मेरे को लगता है क्योंकि उन्होंने बीच में क्रिटिसाइज किया था कि एक इनिंग्स थी जब he scored 53 of 41 balls I think, and RCB actually won that game because they ended up scoring I think 200 odd.
इसके पहले वाले ही मैच में तो
इसके पहले वाले मैच में
गुजरात गेम.
And he also said कि अगर आप 1 ओवर से 15 ओवर तक हो और आपका स्ट्राइक रेट सिर्फ 118 है, so then the team is not really benefiting. So I think that was a reply to that is what I understood from the comment, because clearly the gentleman he was referring to has not played T20 cricket.
यार आप देखो क्या होता है ना, you can only say this when you win, right? I'm sure he's been wanting to say this for a long time. Because that 100 wala game he lost, right? So they've had only 2 chances to really say it,
and first match mein after the first win, usme bhi Virat had mentioned, I guess I've still got it, and that was also sort of like a dig at some comments, some experts commenting about whether he deserves a place in the side or not for the T20 World Cup. So that was also like a cheeky sort of jibe or dig at some of those experts. I guess I've still got it. Lekin I'll tell you what, I'd love to get your opinions on this. So I've been reading some comments, मैं Twitter पे पढ़ रहा हूँ, social media पे, I've been seeing videos, a lot of people saying कि Virat doesn't necessarily have to do that. He doesn't necessarily have to say these things. But मैं सोच रहा था आज कि I think Virat is the type of player who likes to feel as if there are enemies that he has to prove wrong. तो जैसे कोई होता है ना, मतलब they play with like a chip on their shoulder. Virat is the type of guy who plays with a chip on both shoulders. So even if that means creating an imaginary enemy in his head, I think that brings out the best in him, because he's like, I have to prove these people wrong. Exactly. So football mein, there are a couple of examples that come to my mind. Football mein, I think Suleiman's a big football fan. So Suleiman, let us know comments mein if you agree or not. Jose Mourinho, he's similar. जहां वो अपने ड्रेसिंग रूम में एक siege mentality create करता है. Basically, it's like us versus them. The world is against us, and guys, we have to be as united as we can be in fighting the world that's against us. So that sometimes, although it's like a thoda perverse type of tactic, lekin it sometimes really helps in uniting a bunch of cricketers, or united a bunch of players. Same with Cristiano also. You could call Cristiano like the Virat Kohli of football, or Virat is like the Cristiano of cricket. Cristiano bhi, again, he's someone who sometimes तुमको लगता है यार, why are these comments riling him up? But the fact that he gets riled up is what actually makes him go out and prove those people wrong. And I think if those comments weren't there, or if those quote unquote enemies weren't there, then maybe we wouldn't be seeing Virat and Kohli, the likes of them, performing at the level at which they perform.
I think वो motivation आ जाता है बस वही ना. The drive to.
Yeah, but does he need to? Do you think he needs that external motivation now? Like, because of his, obviously he's in the back end of his career, right?
बट नीरव वो होता है ना कि जैसे अब आज हो गया, अचीव कर लिया, अब व्हाट नेक्स्ट, तो व्हाट नेक्स्ट में ये आ जाता है फिर, एंड दैट गिव्स दैट एडेड पुश। आई फील अनुभव इज राइट कि ये हो सकता है एक रीजन हो फॉर
Okay, I'll
समवन।
prove them wrong and fix my strike rate.
नहीं, इट्स नॉट अ
No, I
स्ट्राइक
think
रेट का तो
because that was the direct aspersion, right? कि made कि
हाँ
मार लिया उसने 100, मगर what about strike rate, right? Now
हाँ
I think
हाँ
I think I think like out of the 20 openers in this IPL, I think pretty much all of them will give an arm and leg for his stats, which is 500
100%।
plus runs at 70 ka average and 150 ka strike rate, right?
yeah
I think everybody would be happy. So what goes unnoticed is in the last two games the number of sixes he's hit, for example, right? And if I tell you at this point he's had more sixes in the tournament than Travis Head has, you'll find that a shocking stat,
yeah
right?
yeah
There you go. It's one more, but it's more than Travis Head. So in the list of six hitters, you would typically not put in a Kohli, right? But he is just outside that top five. There is obviously Klaasen and Abhishek Sharma. There's Rishabh Pant. There is Nicholas Puran, uh, Jake Fraser McGurk, and then and then Virat Kohli. I saw that list early this morning. So yeah, 20 छक्के हैं उसके. And Travis Head is at 19, and even like I'm sorry, there's Shivam Dubey ahead of him as well. So yeah, so that's like, but if I was to ask you the top 10 six hitters of the tournament, you would not come up with Virat Kohli's name, but he is, right? Simply because he's been batted long enough. So I think that's what happens with playing long innings, right? You after a point will start, and and yeah, last year we were shocked when we saw the number of sixes Shubman Gill has hit, simply because when you get 900 runs, there'll be enough sixes in there, you know. So that's, I
100%,
think,
yeah।
what is so I think that's happening with Virat this year. Is that he'll get his, it is what they say, na, matlab, get your 30 of 20 balls and then start. And then pad gaya to pad gaya, nahi pada to koi piche hai. But he's getting that 30 of 20 balls,
yeah yeah
right?
yeah
Which is a 133 strike rate. And it doesn't look so bad when he gets out at that
30
point.
of 20 is 150 also, so that's also great.
150, sorry, yeah. So that's what I think, that's the model which a lot of openers I feel should approach the game. Get to that point and then tee off. Like, if you can't do a Jake Fraser McGurk, if you can't do a Phil Salt, if you can't do a Travis Head, if you can't do a Abhishek Sharma, then at least play this role. Right? Get to that point where it's 30 of 20 balls, give or take a few here and there. Get to that point, because that at least sets the team up, right? 30 of 20 odd balls ensures a 50-60 ka minimum power play. 60, so, if the other guy is going for it, and if you lose one or two wickets, one guy is, so some teams, I think, including MI, one of the guys should be doing this. Right now, it's a hit and miss for both Rohit and Ishan, and that's again reason for the lack of success, right? Because if both players are getting out in the power play, both openers, then you're struggling to put up the big runs always. If one guy is, I think that, I'm not saying this is actually an anchor role, but it's a fast anchor. It's like a 140, 150, 130, 140 ka anchor. So I think Virat is the best player in the world for that.
yeah exactly. In fact, I think pitch वो जो 41 बॉल वाली 50 थी उसकी 53 or 41, that was the rare occasion जब I think उल्टा हुआ था, because power play में he got off the blocks very quickly. Then फिर बाद में slow down हुआ था. But yeah, apart from that, like Neerav is spot on. मतलब he starts off that
like when
way.
you so I will comment on a few people who are known to be big hitters, right? There have been days where Rishabh Pant hasn't scored 100 strike rate in this tournament, 2 days, right? You know what I mean? Like, there are days when Henrik Klaasen last night, right? He couldn't get the ball off the square. So David Miller yesterday, right? Guys who you think would be operating at a 200 strike rate, enough times they don't. Enough times they suck so bad that it's almost like, detrimental. They shouldn't have been sent in. But you don't know when they're going in if they are going to be doing this. Right, and I think one day Ishan Kishan also happened. This happened. He couldn't. Like, it happens, right? One or two games here and there. Maybe Rohit also ke saath hua hai. If you try these explosive guys, there is the bad day. And those bad days are really bad. Virat's bad day is not so bad, honestly.
Yeah.
And his bad day is actually, I mean, given the nature of his team, I think, 6 points so far. So I think he's pretty much responsible for those 6. So
right.
Yeah.
I think it gets a little too much flack. And honestly, I'm not a Virat Kohli fan, but I will defend his right to play because he's such a great player.
You're
right?
not a Virat Kohli fan.
Not particularly, honestly. I mean,
अभी आप किसके fan हो Indian current team में? If I can ask.
Rohit Sharma, of course.
Hmm.
Sanju Samson,
Okay.
Surya, Dubey, Rinku Singh.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I mean, I like Virat. He's a great player. I cannot accept any other opinion on him because I've seen, his predecessors play, and people from his earlier eras also play, right? So I would say he racks up as the greatest all-format player of all time.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. एक सवाल सुलेमान का जरा दे दे इसका आंसर.
I like Rizwan. I love Rizwan. Again, a very good all-format player. Babar, maybe not so much. Fakhar Zaman, for sure. Imam on certain days. Imam is almost like he's the Rajat Patidar of Punjab, I think. They're like a polar opposites. Like there are days when Rajat Patidar, that classic is a classic example of what I was trying to say earlier. I didn't get his name first. But there are days when he's so good, and then there are days when he's so bad, right? Like he just cannot find where the ball is coming, right? He can't pick line, he can't pick length, and you don't know why that happens. But it happens to guys like them, I guess.
सही. So that's great points, नीरव. जैसे विराट अपने क्रिटिसिज्म के पॉइंट्स पे हंसते हैं, वैसे अब हमें भी हंस लेना चाहिए थोड़ा सा. मीम्स वगैरह देख लेते हैं क्या, क्योंकि यार मतलब ऐसा कोई दिन नहीं जाता जब सोशल मीडिया इज नॉट अबज़ विद द आईपीएल हैपनिंग्स, एंड सम मीम्स वी कैन नॉट शो फॉर वेरियस रीजंस, बट सम वी कैन. No, some of them are so funny, but they are not suitable for viewing publicly.
For a family show.
Yeah.
You're a family show? Yeah. Oaktree, the Dugout family.
Yeah. So let's see what is there in the memeing world this week that has gone by.
भाई 200 रन बन गए, 200 बन गए भाई, 200 ही बने यार, 200 में तो हार जाएंगे.
Yeah, I think play नहीं हुआ ढंग से, वापस एक बार चला सकते हैं.
भाई 200 रन बन गए, 200 बन गए भाई, 200 ही बने यार, 200 में तो हार जाएंगे.
बेचारे बॉलर्स. हैशटैग
बेचारे.
किसी ने ये पूछा था, डेल स्टेन की ट्वीट पढ़ी एक डेढ़ हफ्ते पहले, लाइक शोइंग सॉलिडारिटी टुवर्ड्स बॉलर्स की गाइस, सब लोग कह रहे हैं कमेंट्री बॉक्स में, दिस इज द वर्स्ट टाइम टू बी अ बॉलर, आई एम सो ग्लैड आई एम नॉट अ बॉलर राइट नाउ, but I wish I was a bowler in this era because I always loved a challenge. And a message to all bowlers out there, don't be disheartened, just grab the bull by its horns. तो उसकी बड़ी motivational message थी to the bowling fraternity.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody saw his tweet. Anybody playing in the IPL, bowling in the IPL,
exactly,
except for maybe Bumrah.
exactly.
कोई नहीं छूटा है. मतलब that's what's sad, no? It's like बुमराह भी कल पिटा है ना, कल परसों.
इतना नहीं, I think 4 ओवर में 35 दिया था at the end, if I recall correctly.
I just saw the first over. I said 18 of the first over. I said, यार, what is
his first ball? पहली बॉल ही नो बॉल थी, तो 11 रन पड़े थे उसकी एक बॉल पे. After the first 2 attempts at bowling, one legal delivery. Okay, next क्या है? कब ये बदला? कहाँ गए वो दिन? Damn.
No, I'm that maybe it was. I've had those conversations with a few people in the last week. कि यार नहीं देखा जाता अब ये. It's that first day, 270, नहीं, whatever the SRH 210 chased by 4 runs से हारे थे या जो भी. The first game, which was the big chase, it was only 210 or something.
हाँ, 210, yes.
KKR
KKR and
lost by 4
SRH.
runs or something.
208 और
हाँ.
204, if I remember correctly.
So that seemed like, oh wow, like what a chase, what a dramatic, nail biting finish. उसके बाद से तो मजाक ही बन गया यार.
उसके बाद से तो बेचारे
तो
bowlers.
डीसी वाला जो गेम था, मैंने कहा यार कैसे लोग हैं ये, मतलब मैंने शुरू का देखा 130 ऑफ 8 ओवर्स और व्हाटएवर, एंड देन आई सॉ द फाइनल स्कोर. ऐसे 250 भी नहीं बने, बड़ी मुश्किल से बने इनके. आखिरी ओवर में नो बॉल हुआ था तभी जाके बने. आई वाज लाइक 260 भी नहीं बने इनसे.
हाँ.
It's not fun anymore, guys.
No score is safe.
And honestly, I've not felt like watching. Like it was, pehle, sometimes you turn on a app, let's say CricBuzz or a Cricinfo, and see kya score hai, and then you decide to watch the match. Nothing in the last week has made me want to go there. Made me want to switch on the TV. It's like band pada hua. I just got a thing stream on here.
Yeah.
What about you?
Maybe
Have you guys
KKR
have you felt excited about these games? Oh wow, whatever.
So not the games as such, but just the hitting. So if I'm tuning in just for the hitting, जैसे Travis Head, Abhishek Sharma खेल रहा है, I'll derive my entertainment from that. But I have not been deriving my entertainment from cliffhangers that I'm watching.
So I think Josh Butler ने जो century मारी थी ना against KKR, that was one match
That
where
was a good game.
That was
Yes.
a classic. That was a classic.
I was sitting in a bar, I think, with some friends, and वो mute पे चल रहा था match, and एक point का the eyes, मतलब they were fixated on the TV because वो जिस तरह से लेके गया वहां तक और फिर जिता गया. So Josh the boss clearly.
Even to an extent, the Stoinis chase was quite a nail biting one.
Yeah.
Even though it was a big chase.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are very few of these. Like even though a couple of times the SRH RCB game was 260 plays 240, and then SRH MI was a similar kind of game. जब 20-25 रन से हारे हैं. But actually, when you think about it, 20-25 रन बहुत होते हैं. मतलब it's not, it felt like when DK was playing, चलो chance है, can miracle happen, or even the MI chase of SRH, can a miracle happen? But by the end of it, they were boring games. Like finally, I don't remember क्या हुआ. It's like एक मैच में Travis Head ने 100 मारा था. It was not a 100 of the caliber of a Josh Butler's 100 or a Marcus Stoinis 100. It felt.
I think वो KKR और RCB का मैच भी
Probably
अच्छा था,
faster.
जिसमें 1 रन से वो जीते, जहाँ पे कर्ण शर्मा ने 3 छक्के मारे थे मिचेल स्टार्क को. But other than that, yeah, so that is there. Okay, next. We have one more thing.
Yeah. So, do you remember 2003 World Cup final?
I remember it very well.
So, weather was nice in the final, do you know?
Nice day, a little bit overcast, a few storms around, but otherwise it was a nice day for Australia.
Spring weather?
Maybe a spring day, yeah.
You remember something, spring?
Got no idea what you're talking about.
Bat mein spring tha. Did you have spring in the bat, so you were hitting long sixes?
No need a spring in the bat.
I won't tell anyone, you can say.
Okay, in the handle, yes, there was a spring.
There was a spring?
Yes, there was a spring.
How?
Only one bat. Only used it in the World Cup final, but just one.
We all know I'm your best friend here. You sure?
क्यों नहीं हो रही पढ़ाई?
Spring bat? I've never even heard of a spring bat. What is a spring bat? Is it in the handle? Is it inside the face of the bat? I've never heard of it. Obviously been spoken about a lot in India, not in Australia. There is no such thing as a spring bat. You should all go and do your homework.
I think अनुभव कहाँ चले गए यार?
that gave me PTSD, इसलिए मैं चला गया.
PTSD, हाँ. I think अब क्लोजर मिल गया मुझे तो एटलीस्ट, ये जान के कि कोई स्प्रिंग नहीं था उस बैट में. नहीं तो मैं आज भी कई बार नींद में से उठ के सोचता था कि क्या उसके बैट में स्प्रिंग है. बट इफ आई डोंट नो अनुभव तुम कितने बड़े हो, या बिकॉज अब तो पता भी नहीं चलता, बट मैं जब बड़ा हो रहा था तो इससे पहले एक कॉन्वर्सेशन निकली थी कि जयसूर्या के बैट में कुछ है. जिसकी वजह से वो लंबे लंबे छक्के मारते हैं और शायद वो नशे वशे भी करते थे। ये सब अफवाहें चलती थी पहले कि जिस स्टेरॉइड्स वगैरह जिसकी वजह से शायद इतनी पावर हिटिंग हो रही है, क्योंकि उस टाइम पे तो वैसे भी कहाँ होता था, बैट्स भी छोटे होते थे।
नहीं तो बैट में स्टेरॉइड्स थे कि उनके अंदर स्टेरॉइड्स थे?
उनके अंदर स्टेरॉइड्स थे, ऐसा बोला सुना था मैंने बचपन में। और फिर वो बैट में स्प्रिंग वाला पॉन्टिंग से पहले मैंने जयसूर्या के लिए सुना, बिकॉज जयसूर्या जब मारता था तो उसका एक वो फ्लिक ऐसे जाते थे जो आजकल नॉर्म बन गया है, बट उस टाइम पे इट वाज अ बिग डील, लाइक रियली बिग डील। नीरव, एनी थॉट्स? आपके जमाने में बात हुई थी?
Any thoughts on these conspiracy theories?
Conspiracy theories, no. Yeah, conspiracy theories is something I come up with here.
अच्छा,
Any that you'd like to share?
मतलब फैक्चुअल थे चीजें एक दो। एक तो बैट ही अलग लेके आया था गिलक्रिस्ट एक बार, और मैथ्यू हेडन आल्सो वंस इन द आईपीएल ब्रॉट अ, सो गिलक्रिस्ट का तो फिर वो था वर्ल्ड कप में ही स्क्वॉश बॉल इनसाइड जस्ट टू ग्रिप इट टाइटर। मैथ्यू हेडन ब्रॉट सम एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग मंगूस बैट। ऐसी चीजें हुई हैं। इनफैक्ट डेनिस लिली वंस ब्रॉट अ स्टील का बैट इन डेज गॉन बाय, स्टील या एल्यूमिनियम का मेटल बैट लेके आया, क्योंकि कहीं पे लिखा नहीं था कि वुड उस टाइम पे रूल्स लॉज में, एमसीसी लॉज में कहीं पे था नहीं कि वुड से बनना पड़ेगा। One of those bizarre things, no? The material was never specified. It was just specified the length and the width and the weight, or maybe not even the weight. I think वो था कि it cannot be wider than this, it cannot be longer than this, the blade. कहीं पे wood नहीं लिखा। तो ये this happened in the late 70s, I think. I mean, I don't remember. I mean, I have never seen it, but I've read about it.
ये सच है क्या?
स्प्रिंग बैट कोई नहीं, कंस्पिरेसी थ्योरी है, अगर नहीं है सच तो।
पहले Flintoff also used to use this one bat ना, then I think it became popular amongst a few players, जो ऊपर में it was slightly tapered inside and then वापस वो बाहर आता था, तो sometimes the ball would just miss the edge because of that. तो मतलब the chances of the ball taking the outside edge or the inside edge, because it was slightly tapered slightly inside at the top and then it came down, the chances of the ball taking an edge was also lower.
So was it then like
it wasn't completely straight?
Wow. तो फिर उन्होंने कुछ किया था इसका, like authorities ने?
I don't know exactly क्या हुआ. Like now you don't see that type of bat model, so maybe it got banned या कुछ. But I do remember Flintoff was using it, and then a few other players.
Even जो मंगूस बैट आप मेंशन कर रहे थे, वो छोटा था, so that's why it was allowed, because it was smaller than the usual bat in terms of size.
I think was it David Warner जिसका, so again they had specification on the width and the length of it, they didn't have the specification on the depth of it कि पीछे कितना बड़ा हो सकता है। तो David Warner, I think उसकी वजह से भी कुछ हुआ था। I think early in his career he had a bat which like edgy नहीं था उसका, मतलब it was, how to describe it, मतलब it was a block of wood. So it was, I think it was David Warner only, some maybe early in his career. तो फिर then उसके बाद भी कुछ laws में changes आए थे of the edges and ये वो, so yeah.
So I think I can say this right now क्योंकि Devin Conway का bat sponsor has changed now. I think his bat sponsor is SS. लेकिन 2022 season में what he would do is his bat sponsor I think was one of the some foreign company, maybe Grey Nichols या
Grey Nichols or Gun and More or something.
One of GM, I think GM, Gun and More, exactly GM. But because he liked SS bat so much, what he would end up doing is using an SS bat, लेकिन वो GM का sticker बस ऊपर लगाता था.
I think some people do it. You know, if they like the bats and they put the brand ka sticker. So lot of cricketers do that. They pick the bat first कि कौन सा अच्छा लग रहा है, और फिर sticker, मतलब अगर अपना bat नहीं है तो sticker उतार के, it happens in the lot.
But I'm guessing you still have to be careful, है ना? Because the sponsor should not find out, your actual sponsor, जैसे GM in this case.
I guess.
तो be ready, Luke wrong, sorry, wrong की कह रहा हूँ, Conway might just call you up, Anubhav. But before we wrap
corporate secrets.
नहीं, now I think मैं इसलिए बोल रहा हूँ क्योंकि now I think he uses SS only. तो
अच्छा
एसएस का स्टिकर ही है
बाहर है। हाँ, सो बिफोर वी रैप, सुलेमान ने एक क्वेश्चन पूछा था कि वो एड्रेस कर लेते हैं कि हु इज मोर लाइकली टू मेक अ कमबैक। आई थिंक ही मेंट द लीग, कि कौन है जो अभी नीचे से ऊपर आ सकता है और थोड़ा टॉप 4 को टक्कर देके इंटरेस्टिंग कर सकता है थोड़ा सा कॉन्टेस्ट अभी, बिकॉज़ आरआर ने तो थोड़ा बोरिंग सा कर
एलएसजी कितना एलएसजी कितने
So
कितने नंबर पे
LSG, CSK and SRH are all at 10 points, which is 9 games में 5 wins and 4 losses. बस वो नेट रन रेट का तीनों का फर्क है. But I think जो MI, RCB, पंजाब, ये GT, ये जो लास्ट की 4 टीम्स हैं, इनमें किसका चांस है एक्चुअली रियलिस्टिकली?
I don't see any one of these coming up. I think the bottom 5 is decided, especially with DC's result today.
हाँ.
So GC will go 11 games, 10 points. So I think that may puts them. I think the bottom 5 will stay bottom 5 because all of them need 5-on-5 result, like or a 4-and-4 result, right? And then hope. So Delhi
DC might still do now with 3-on-3.
So
3-on-3.
3-on-3. 3-on-3 would make them 16, but I mean this is a damaging net run rate they already have, and it's getting a lot worse today because आज भी 15 ओवर में गेम खत्म हो रहा है. So so I think they will struggle with 100% wins also. Same with Gujarat. Gujarat getting 14 can get to 16 points. Punjab can at best get to 16. So all of them can at best get to 16. But horrible run rates and the best case scenario, मतलब सारे जीतेंगे. I don't see any of them winning all 5 or all 4 games.
Yeah, आज के मैच के पहले my pick would have been DC.
But I wouldn't be surprised. Sorry to interrupt. I wouldn't be surprised if all of the teams finish on double figures, which I don't think has happened before.
Correct, yeah. RCB को 2 wins चाहिए in 4. Mumbai and Punjab also. I think possible तो है, काफी possible है. But yeah, again, will be very interesting to see. टोमेटो वाला ने एक सवाल पूछा जो हम लास्ट सवाल एड्रेस कर लेते हैं. टोमेटो वाला
और अगर ये होता है, if all teams actually finish with double digit points, then I think that'll shed light on what Neerav was also talking about शुरू में, कि if anything this is probably the most level playing field
because of the impact player. Because of the impact player.
अच्छा.
सो टोमेटो वाला आप पहले अगर थे तो हमने मोस्टली लोगों की प्रेफरेंस दुबे को दी है, इवन दो अनुभव की टीम में पांड्या भी प्लेइंग 11 में, बट
अनुभव की टीम में दोनों हैं, आई थिंक ना.
हां, दोनों हैं. हां, और लेकिन नीरव और मेरा मानना है कि दुबे इज मोर डिजर्विंग ऑफ द प्लेस, प्राइमरीली ऑफ द फॉर्म दैट ही हैज शोन, बिकॉज़ ऑफ द फॉर्म दैट ही हैज शोन. और सुलेमान का लास्ट सवाल लेते हैं. हैदराबाद और लखनऊ फॉर फोर्थ प्लेस, हु इज मोर डिजर्विंग? फॉर मी पर्सनली लखनऊ. गाइस,
आई थिंक Lucknow has got a better balanced team. Little short on the weak on the bowling. Hopefully, Mayank can make a comeback.
Mayank is coming back, by the way, guys. Yes, he's coming back tomorrow.
But I'm hoping he's coming back and playing the rest of the games. Let's put it this way.
Okay, fair.
So 9 overs is not what he deserves.
But I think instead of asking this question, क्या हमें ये पूछना चाहिए कि which of the 3 teams will end up occupying the third and fourth slot, and add Chennai to the mix also?
Yeah, because they are all on same points with the same number of games right now.
So I mean, you could have a scenario where Hyderabad and Lucknow make it and Chennai miss out.
Yeah, it's possible. I think I'll take that decision or that call or that guess next Monday, when it's down to 12 games each.
Procrastinator, but fair. थोड़ा ज्यादा क्लियर आइडिया लगेगा.
मुझे क्या फर्क पड़ता है, रोज इंडिया जीतती है, रोज इंडियन बैट्समैन अच्छे रन मार रहे हैं, क्या टेंशन ले रहे हैं?
इंडियन इकोनॉमी जीत रही है रोज. किसी दिन अगले मैच में मेरा ये एक सवाल था, हम लोग लंच कर रहे थे एक दिन ऑफिस में, तो ये निकला एकदम से मेरे दिमाग में सवाल कि एक मैच में आईपीएल के कितना पैसा इकोनॉमी में रोटेट होता है, और इसका जवाब अभी देने की जरूरत नहीं है. शायद ये हमारा सेगवे हो सकता है नेक्स्ट एपिसोड का, कि क्या ये तब तक फिगर कर पाते हैं हम में से कोई, और आप भी जो देख रहे हैं, तो तब
नोट
बताना
गिनते हैं।
कि क्या क्या लगता है, क्या अंदाजा है कितना पैसा जाता होगा सब चीजों में। आप जब अपने दोस्त के यहाँ जाके बैठ के देखते हो और फूड ऑर्डर करते हो, वो भी पैसा जा रहा है। तो या
you know consulting interviews में case studies होते हैं. I think this would
हाँ.
make for a very good case study question in a consulting interview.
Yeah, because I'm
जिसमें
sure
the
it
interviewer wants to know तुम्हारा thought process क्या है. हो सकता है तुम्हारा answer is way off compared to what
Yeah.
the right answer is, लेकिन if the interviewer thinks कि अच्छा हाँ तुम्हारी सोच ठीक है, you're thinking logically, तब you'll get points. हाँ.
You know, I've done something similar. It was not a scientifically done thing, but the year of the first pandemic, 2021, one of those 2 seasons, में there was a lot of talk of should IPL happen given what's happening in the country, right?
Yeah,
So
2021.
I very clearly fall on the thing is yes, because again, first entertainment, you know, and it's not, well, IPL is not killing anybody. So that was my thing at that time. But at some point we did the math, and you know, there are roughly 10,000 people which are directly or indirectly employed by each team, right? Whether you look, 10,000 log, 10,000 people. When if you look at it from, let's say, you know, let's say an IPL team is in itself about 25 players plus 25 support staff plus net bowlers, तो 100 लोग वही हो जाते हैं, plus media team, marketing team, corporate team, ये वो करते करते 150 तक पहुंच जाते हैं. Just the people who are directly associated. There are people who are working in the stadium, right, for logistics, for hospitality, security, ये सब, right? Then there is the whole hotel which gets, you know, staffed up, right, which is basically just a hotel of, you know, maybe another 1,000 people just for this service. तो ऐसे करते करते bus drivers, car drivers, taxis, करते करते
Ticket
10,000
collector.
लोग, ticket people at, you know, सब कुछ, मतलब people who are just at the ticket entry, मतलब just, you know, punching you in or scanning your things. इतने लोग होते हैं ना, मतलब, so it actually, each IPL team indirectly or directly, each stadium, let's say, directly or indirectly employs 10,000 people. So लाख लोगों का employment कम से कम होता है. This was a best case conservative guess scenario, because I don't know what all goes on behind the scenes, you know. उसके ऊपर फिर broadcast आता है कि स्टार में कितने employees हैं, मतलब commentator ही 200 होते हैं यार. तो मतलब वो तो जो visible और audible है, right?
ब्रांडेड शूट्स वगैरह क्या क्या होता है.
हाँ, correct, कितना कुछ हो जाता है. So many brands, each one. So, but I think that's, you know, the IPL ecosystem is just one insane ecosystem. So we won't even be able to guess the amount of money that transitions into the Indian economy because of an IPL. There will be a low ballpark figure, I guess.
Then also
So
so many
on that
content
note,
creators and influencers who are creating lots of content which is earning them money during this period.
और हमारा डगआउट भी तो बात कर रहा है आईपीएल की ही, और हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं सुलेमान, टोमेटो वाला, आदित्य, संतोष. सो या दैट्स अ ग्रेट पॉइंट, कितना कुछ इम्पैक्ट होता है. सो लेकिन वो फिगर, जो बॉल पार्क फिगर है, वो पार्क करते हैं अगले हफ्ते मंडे को जब वापस आएंगे.
वो असाइनमेंट है सबके लिए, वो होमवर्क है. एक वीक दे रहे हैं, है ना. डिफिकल्ट कॉम्प्लेक्स क्वेश्चन है.
थोड़ा सोचने
सब
में
लोग कैलकुलेशन करके आओ.
हाँ, फिर
और एक साथ एक हफ्ते का एक विंडो है सबके लिए, ताकि उसमें सब्सक्राइब भी कर लो और फॉलो भी कर लो हमारे सोशल्स पे. इंडिविजुअली ऑल्सो. अनुभव, आप, तुम्हारा सोशल बहुत एक्टिव है, मैंने सुना है.
देख नहीं रहे आप?
नहीं, मैं नहीं दिखता इसके सोशल मीडिया यार, सॉरी.
इंस्टाग्राम
तो इसको भी फॉलो करो. हाँ, अनुभव को भी फॉलो करो, ओकट्री को भी फॉलो करो. ठीक है,
थैंक यू.
चलो, थैंक यू, नमस्कार.
Thank you so much, Nirav. Thank you, Anubhav, and thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys. Take care.